Let the madness begin. Today's NCAA tournament first round action, it features some of the bluest of blue bloods. So Kansas, Kentucky, UCLA, UNC, Indiana, plus both of last year's finalists, Baylor and Gonzaga. Joining us now, live from Las Vegas, DraftKings contributors Julian, Edlow, and Collin, Sherwin. Are you guys sitting like 2 feet from each other? Or are you in the same hotel room?
Yes, watch this. Just kidding.
Okay, I actually was going to be very, very impressed there. Way to break the third wall. But thank you.
What are we, about 3 blocks apart? We're about a monorail ride apart right now. So, but we will be linking up here momentarily.
Awesome.
And fun.
Well, thank you both for being kind enough to wake up early after a long night to share with us your best bets for today. 3 of the top seeds in action. I don't think we're expecting any 2018 UMBC-like upsets by a 16 seed. However, which number 1 is least likely to cover the spread, Jules?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be betting any of the dogs today either, but if I had to, it would be a Baylor fade because they're the most vulnerable of all these 1 seeds. They're not as healthy. They're not playing as well right now. They got knocked off in their first Big 12 game. So Baylor is the team that you want to go against. I don't necessarily know if today is the day or not, but if they wind up with a UNC team in the second round, they could lose. If they wind up with UCLA in the Sweet 16, they could lose. Baylor's got a really tough road. We'll see if Norfolk State can keep it within 20 or not.
All right, what do you think here, Collin?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas Southern, but like Julian, I hate all these games. I'm just to stay away. If anything, I might be a Gonzaga to win and cover because Gonzaga does tend to just absolutely pave teams in the first round. 30, 40 plus is usually not an issue. But Texas Southern just plays a weird style that you don't see with a lot of teams that they're going to face in Kansas. At times does tend to drift through games, especially if they can't get the ball inside to Ajabi. So I will say Texas Southern has the best chance to cover. But again, these are complete stayaways. Just there's better games on the board today. Go win those.
All right, so we might not find any upsets here, guys, among the top seeds. But which spots do you like betting on the dog in day 1, Collin?
You know, the dogs today, I think this is going to be a weird tournament in that some teams that you don't expect are going to make some advances, but I don't see, and this is how it always starts, I don't see a ton of dogs out there on the board that I think are going to be an issue. Everybody's on Vermont. I think Arkansas is going to defend them really well. I actually like Arkansas today. I think that's a good one. Teams that tend to play teams close are going to have trouble. UCLA, 13.5 against Akron. Akron just might hang around long enough to stay in that game. Some reason San Francisco is a 2-point dog at Murray State, I guess because it's a 7-10 game or whatever. But I think San Francisco just wins that game outright. So those are the dogs I like today. But I think we're going to see a lot more upsets later in the tournament, maybe not necessarily today.
Okay, Jules, do you agree with that? You think it's going to come a little later?
Yeah, so I don't see many dogs that I love on Thursday, honestly. And I think, like Collin said, there's a lot of trendy dogs where taking the favorite is going to be going against the grain. And we've seen Arkansas now tick down to 4.5, which is what I've been waiting for. I wrote them up in my article on Monday at 5, but I haven't put it out as a bet for this reason. What am I going to do later today? I'm going to put out Arkansas minus 4.5 because we're getting the better number, and I don't think UVM can stick around. So I'm going to take this and go with the trendiest dog of the tournament and go the other way. Everybody wants South Dakota State. I feel like Providence is the underdog in this game, and yet they are growing from 2 to 3 now on DraftKings Sportsbook. Late money coming in on Providence, which I think is the correct side. Jackrabbits won 21 in a row in Summit League. Great. What were they before that? They won 1 game as an underdog this year. It was by 3 against Washington State. They lost a game when favored by 22.5 to Idaho. They lost a game favored to Washington by double digits. They were a slight dog against Missouri State, lost by double digits. The most comparable game I can find here is Alabama. The Jackrabbits were 12.5-point dogs against Alabama. They lost by 16. So everybody's all about this South Dakota State team no matter what. So give me Providence. I know we're playing by our own rules here. They're a favorite, but they feel like an underdog, honestly, the way that everybody's talking about South Dakota State.
All right, most bet dog today right now, guys. 56% of the bets on New Mexico money line against UConn. So a little 12-5 there, Jules.
Wow.
Yep.
I was just opening up the splits email. That kind of surprises me, but it is interesting. That UConn game is going to be a stay away from me, but that it surprises me that UConn is not getting as much support. And I think that says a lot about this New Mexico team. And to see that they're the most bet dog on the money line, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, are you as surprised as Jules on that one, Collin?
A little bit, yeah, but hold on. As Jules just informed me, because I hadn't had a chance to have coffee yet, look, this is me hitting a button on an app. Yes, I just took Arkansas minus 4.5. There is no reason on God's green earth to think that this Vermont team, who has beat up on the finest mediocre athletes in the Northeast of the country, should have any
guys like
reason.
Guys like Emerson.
Guys like
Thank
Emerson. The American East Conference is filled with guys like Emerson. So I think this is just a spot where they're going to see a defense they haven't seen all year. I've got Arkansas in the Final Four. So full disclosure here, I am definitely that guy and that mark for that team. But 4.5 here is just, come on. Let's go. This is a game Arkansas could absolutely run them off the floor, especially because they've had all of this. All they've heard is how good Vermont is, how well Vermont shoots the three, how they have guys 1 through 5 who can play interchangeably. They've heard all of this. They know how to defend it. They know what they're going to do. They'll come out with a plan. They're going to attack athletically in transition and in space. Give me the Hogs.
Let's go Hogs.
Hey, 62% of bets on Vermont to cover. Jules, your favorite team to cover the spread on Thursday today is who?
Oh, man. All right. So I love Arkansas. I love Providence. We've hit them enough. The other one that I wrote up in my article, Gonzaga first half. It's down from 14 to 13. Thank you. I will lay the 13 with the Zags in the first half. Look at this Georgia State team. They won 10 games in a row in the Sun Belt. Cool. They've been favored 12 games in a row. Cool. They've been an underdog twice since New Year's, and both of those times they were an underdog of 2 points or less. Let's look at what happened anytime this Georgia State team has played any type of decent team. Georgia Tech, 4.5-point dogs. They lost by double digits. They were a 9.5-point dog to Mississippi State. They lost by 29. Even earlier in the season, they were underdogs against Atlantic 10 competition, mid-major, my Rhode Island Rams. They lost by 35 to URI. They lost by 16 to Richmond. Why is Gonzaga not going to be up 20-plus at halftime? They are.
Collin, which game totals interest you today?
So I'm going to get really nerdy on you guys. So
Go ahead.
Here's how the NCAA tournament gets officiated. Officials in the NCAA tournament advance based on how the game is called, okay? So the referee supervisors also change because normally you work with a conference. Now you're working directly with the NCAA. The NCAA has very specific rules of how they want these games called. Teams that put the ball on the deck and drive to the basket are going to get calls. Teams that put the ball, that dribble and attack the rim are going to get the benefit of the doubt. That means more fouls. That means more overs. You want teams that put the ball on the deck and drive to get and bet overs in these games. There's going to be a ton of clock stoppages. If you just paper the overs for the first 16 games today, I think you go at least 9-7, 10-6 and make money. So just over. Early in NCAA tournaments, always just go over because of the additional amount of foul calls and the amount that the clock will stop, and you'll be putting points on the board while the clock is not running.
Jules, are you on as many overs when compared to Collin here?
No, I'm on no overs. I thought you asked me for my best bet. I didn't know we were talking totals. But sorry, it's early. Not much. Sleep.
No, it's fine. It's like 4 a.m. where you are. I'm sure it feels like 4 a.m. to you.
Sure.
We could go to best bet.
I went with Zags. I already did it, so we're not going to waste more time on that.
Okay.
Over-wise, I think Providence and South Dakota State had something to it. I think both of those teams, like Collin said, are going to fit that mold, draw some fouls, and they can also shoot. So if you can make threes and get to the free throw line, you're probably going to see points.
Okay, Collin, you want to lock it in? You want to lock in your slate-approved pick, your favorite bet, your best bet for today?
Shout out Eric Musselman. Woo Pig Suey. I got the Hogs. 4.5. Let's go down in flames if we have to, but if we were perfect yesterday until BYU went on a 20-0 run. So here we go. Let's go. We'll take the Hogs and in a big one. And let's just get all of these little people who like the trendy little 12s and 13s. Just give me my money. Let's go.